I just love love. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Lauren, or LBC Reads, and I have 10 of what I think are some of the most romantic romance books out there to celebrate Valentine's Day, which is today. And I love Valentine's Day and like the love and all the things and stuff, but I actually hate the holiday. Like, who needs a holiday to tell somebody how much they love them? You should show someone you love them every single day and show up in small ways that really matter. And I think these 10 books really showcase how when you love somebody, you just show up, and it's not just on one day of the year, it's consistently. And I just really want to talk about these 10 romance books that were just so romantic, so swoon worthy, and yeah, let's get into it. So first I want to talk about Butcher and Blackbird by Brynne Weaver. If you don't know anything about this is a dark romantic comedy or a dark rom-com. So yes, there are some very heavy things, some trigger warnings. Please read them because it may not be for you. You're gonna read it and it's gonna say something like accidental cannibalism and you're gonna say, what? Just trust me. Just trust me. This is so good. I binged this in one sitting. I read this over a year ago. It was my first read of 2024. But the premise, whenever I pitch it to two people, think about two serial unalivers and they run into each other while trying to unalive somebody else. Their whole like serial unaliving journey is they unalive other people, like bad people. They turn it into a competition. And every year they get together and they try to track down a serial unaliver, and like the first person to unalive them wins the competition. And of course, while it's going on, they fall in love. I mean, like, what is more romantic than two serial unalivers falling in love? And the way Rowan, he's the main character, and he falls so freaking hard for Sloane. Like, head first. As soon as he sees her, he just falls so hard. And I love the he falls first trope, especially when the female main character is kind of oblivious and has no idea what's going on. I still think about this book so much. This whole series is really good. Scythe and Sparrows book 3, which just released on the 11th of February, and book 2, Leather and Larks, also really good. Book 2 is a marriage of convenience and they hate each other. They cannot stand each other. So anyway, it's so fun. But yes, I think this book is so romantic. I'm sorry, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I genuinely do. King of Greed by Huang. I just recently re-listened to this. I read this first back in October of 2023 and I just did the audiobook, which the audiobook is fantastic. But this is about Alessandra and Dominic, and they have been married for a long time. And so this is actually marriage in crisis. Alessandra gets fed up with Dominic's BS and she decides to leave him. It's very heartbreaking, but the way he fights for her, it's second chance. He fights for her. He does not want to give up. You'll have to read and find out what happens and if she forgives him or not. But it's so romantic. And I love there's little flashbacks, like pieces of when they first fell in love. It's just so swoon worthy. I just love it so much. This series is great. This whole series is great. It all is like billionaires. They all belong to this like billionaire club called the Valhalla Club in New York City. Set in New York City, and then they also travel other places. Anna typically sends her couples to like another location, but so good. And if you do audiobooks, it's a duet narration. It's really, really good. So yes, this book, I don't know. I think King of Pride is my favorite in the series, but I think this one is just so romantic. I'm gonna say that a lot. Sorry. Another second chance romance that I recently reread this one as well on audiobook, and it's done by one of my favorite narrators, Erin Shedlock. Rewriter's Story by Kat Singleton is, again, second chance. She's a writer. He works on a ranch in Colorado, and they kind of have this like secret fling when they're younger, and then she leaves to go like chase her dreams of being a writer, and he kind of like pines for her while she's gone, and then something brings her back home, and it's just they kind of like explode. It's a little awkward, right? Because he broke her heart. And anyway, it is the first in a series. It is a standalone. And my favorite part about this book, something that you don't see done very often, but when it's done well, I eat it up. And that's when it bounces back and forth from present tense to past tense. So we see them reconnecting, figuring out what's going on, if they should give this another chance because she was so heartbroken before. And then when we also flash back to them falling in love the first time, you basically get two love stories. And I just don't think there's anything more romantic than watching two people fall in love more than once. Yeah, I mean, it's so good. This is, like I said, the first book in an interconnected standalone series. I also love book 2, but of the 3 in that series, I just think this one is like the most like romantic. Finn Rhodes Forever by Stephanie Archer. Think How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, okay? So I love when a book draws inspiration from a rom-com from like the 90s or early 2000s, because that was the era of rom-coms. Like we just don't get rom-coms like that anymore. But Finn Rhodes Forever is inspired by that. So another second chance romance. He's a firefighter. Okay, this is also a micro trope that I don't see very often, but when it's done well, he has a secret tattoo for her. This is book 4 in a interconnected standalone series as well called Queen's Cove. They're all hilarious. They're so funny. There are so many funny moments in this. So what happens is Finn, who's the tatted firefighter, he shows back up to their hometown where Liv, the female main character, is a bartender, and he is determined to win her back. He wants her back. He's like, I'm home. It's been years. I'm sorry I broke your heart, but like, we're meant to be. Our girl Liv is like, no. You broke my heart. I'm not giving you another chance. But to throw him off, she decides to go along with it and basically say, yes, like, I love you so much. We deserve to be together. And the entire time she's trying to sabotage it. Like, she wears the most insane pants that end up leading to her going pantsless. There's so many crazy unhinged moments because she is so determined to push Finn away and make it to where he thinks it's a mistake. It's just so fun. It's so fun. I love this book so much. I love Stephanie's writing. She's just hilarious. But again, when it gives you those like nostalgic vibes from a rom-com movie, I love this one the most out of that entire series. Another rom-com inspired book. This one is inspired by Sleepless in Seattle. I'm actually listening to the audiobook right now. It's phenomenal. This just released on February 11th. It's First Time Caller by BK Borison. It is a standalone romance. All of these that I'm talking about are standalone romances. I would not do that to you guys. This one, so it starts out with Lucy. Lucy is a single mom to Maya. Maya calls in to a radio show that's all about love and romance and helping people with love and romance, and it's hosted by Valentine. And Valentine is feeling a little jaded. He's a bit of a mess, and he feels like love is just not real. Like, he's just really struggling. Like, he feels like he's so jaded and burned by all the people who call in on the show, and it's just kind of become a joke. So when Maya calls in for her mom, because she wants her mom to not be alone and to have a boyfriend and to find love, there's something about Lucy that Aiden can't let go of. And it's even worse when Aiden's radio show decides to bring Lucy on as a segment where they're going to help Lucy find love. I'm sure you can imagine where this is going. Instead of falling in love over the radio like Sleepless in Seattle, she's gonna fall in love with the radio show host. And again, he's a mess. And they don't see eye to eye on love. So what could go wrong? It's just so laugh out loud funny. I was re-listening to it, and just the first like few chapters had me dying laughing. So Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonam-Young is another book that I read in one sitting that I never stopped thinking about. It's about Bo and Win, and they've both had some trauma, and they meet at their mutual friend's Halloween party and have a one-night stand, and Win gets knocked up. This is the accidental pregnancy trope. Now listen, I know a lot of readers don't like the accidental pregnancy trope, but this one is done so phenomenally well. So when Win gets knocked up she tells Bo, and they decide that they're gonna co-parent. Like, yes, they just had this one night stand. Yes, this is incredibly awkward. Like, they don't really even know each other's last names. And now they're having a baby together. And it's just so good. And Win ends up moving in with Bo, and they're both disabled. So Win does have a disability with her arm, and then Bo is an amputee, so he has lost his leg. So that sets a whole new challenge to being a parent, right? Like, that adds another dynamic to their relationship. And Bo just shows up for Win in so many ways, even as a friend. They become friends as they're going along this journey, and he fell so hard for her. Anyway, I don't want to spoil too much, but I love this book so much. It's so freaking good, and it'll change your mind about the accidental pregnancy trope. Here for the Cake by Jennifer Millikin is another rom-com, not inspired, because I think this came out around the same time, but it gives you those feelings of a rom-com. And if you've seen Anyone But You with Glenn Powell and Sydney Sweeney, this feels like that movie. So it is about Klein and Paisley. Paisley owns a PR firm. Her sister's getting married to her ex-fiance. She's in the wedding. She's dreading it. I mean, who wouldn't dread when your ex marries your sibling? Like, that is brutal. Klein is her frenemy from college, and Klein is an aspiring writer, and he needs help. No one will buy his book because he has zero social media presence. So because Paisley owns a PR firm, she's like, hey, if you go to this wedding with me as my date to help me feel better about my ex marrying my sister, I will help you with your social media presence, and we will get you a book deal. What could go wrong? Fake dating could never go wrong, right? It's always simple. So anyway, they go to the wedding. There's a little spark between them. You know, they kind of butt heads. There's some good banter, but it's so much fun. And it's set in a tropical location, and he just, you know, can't resist himself falling for her. So again, there's a lot of he falls first that I'm talking about, but like, I just think that's what makes it so romantic, is when he's chasing her. Not Another Love Song by Julie Soto. This is the only Julie Soto book I've read. I know, I need to fix that. I do have her other books as well as her fanfic. This one is fun though, because it's enemies to lovers, and you can just tell by looking at the cover. I mean, the cover itself just screams romantic, right? I mean, he's like helping her play the cello. It's just, oh my gosh, it's so romantic. But anyway, Gwen is a violinist, and she shows up to this wedding, and that's when she first meets Xander. And Xander is a celloist, and he's also a rock star, and they are in the same orchestra, but he's like never noticed her before until this wedding. And at the wedding, she's like forced to play the cello, and they just butt heads. Then they have to start working closely together, and the tension and the chemistry just kind of, it's so good. I could not put this down. I loved it. He definitely is like secretly pining after her, and she's clueless until the tension just like, I'm kind of matching Wild Love. So Wild Love by Elsie Silver is one of my favorite Elsie Silver books. It's about Ford and Rosie and their childhood like frenemies. They've always kind of like bickered and bantered, and Rosie's brother is best friends with Ford, and so we've got brother's best friend. But what happens is Rosie is in this really rough relationship. She has something happen at work, and her boyfriend is just like not supportive at all, and so she just leaves and moves back home. Ford is a billionaire, and he runs a successful bar, but now he's also producing records, and his dad's this like famous rock star, and he needs help getting his recording company like started, and so he ends up hiring Rosie. But there's also a plot twist. He has a daughter because he donated his swimmers to get some money like years ago, and she shows up, and there's just chaos. But it's really romantic because Ford has definitely been pining after Rosie for a really long time. She's always kind of thought that maybe there could be more, but like never really considered it until they start working together. And there's nothing I love more than a boss and employee trope. The emails in this are so fun because there's banter and they go back and forth. It's such a good time. Last but certainly not least is Deepened by Ali Hazelwood. This is her newest release. It just released on February 4th. I have read this book twice already because I read the audio and then I also eyeball read it back in December, and it's tied for my most favorite Ali Hazelwood book. I also love Check and Mate by her, but this book, this man is down bad. He is so down bad, and she's just so clueless. So I will let you know that there are some trigger warnings at the beginning, well, more like content warnings. They do explore the dynamics of like BDSM and stuff, and more on like the dom sub kind of situation, like power play. So it is a little spicier than her other books, but it is phenomenal. And so it's based on Scarlett and Lucas, and Scarlett is a diver who's going through a mental block, and she had a diving accident and she's now healed and she's trying to get back into the swing of things. And Lucas is like this super famous Olympian swimmer, but he's also Scarlett's friend's ex-boyfriend. So there's a little bit of messiness and drama there, but basically it comes out that Lucas and Scarlett are both into BDSM, and Penelope, Lucas's ex and Scarlett's friend, is not, and so she drunkenly suggests they should get together. It's just, like I said, so messy, so fun. They're in college, and so there's a little bit of immaturity there, but it's like it adds to the messiness, and I just loved it so much. I was at an event where Ali was talking about it the other day, and she's like, they're 21, they get to make these mistakes, and your friends are a lot more forgiving. And I agree, and I just love this book so freaking much. It's so fun. Like I said, he is down bad for her. I don't normally highlight stuff in my Kindle, and I was highlighting the crap out of this book. Yeah, so that is all of the romantic books that I recommend for Valentine's Day. If you have a book that you think is just super swoon worthy and romantic, let me know in the comments below. If you loved any of these books, also let me know, because I could yap about these books all day long. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I know this video is a little more book heavy than my other videos, but I'm trying to do like a variety for you guys. So yeah, let me know what you'd like to see from me next, and have a great weekend.